This is at Taipei Stadium in Chiang Mai, where if you've been following me for a while, you know I fight a lot. And this fight, I'm facing the Northern champion at 118 pounds. Her name is Palmy, and I'm 100 pounds, so that means she outweighs me by 18 pounds, which is significant. And she's taller than me, and I actually fought her in the fight right before this one, which was about 11 days prior. We fought at a festival fight, which I love, because it kind of leans towards my advantages, which is allowing the clinch to go a little bit more. I still have significant disadvantages, size-wise and things like that. Palmy is a very good fighter. But facing her again 11 days later at this stadium where she is favored and has more advantages than she had even in the previous fight was something that I had to get my head around, and I kind of did not get all the way there leading into the fight. I knew that it was difficult to be facing her again on such short turnaround because you learn from your opponents. You make adjustments, you know what worked for them last time and kind of have had time to think about and prepare for those. And that works in both directions. I should know what to prepare for as well, but again, in such a short turnaround, that's a mental difference. It's not really a physical difference. One of the reasons she has even more of an advantage at this stadium is that they tend to break the clinch on me. So it makes my uphill climb of having a much larger opponent even more difficult. And I knew that that was the case coming in, but knowing that and mentally preparing for it are totally different things. You'll see this man down on the right side of the screen in the corner. That's Pinoy. He's cornered for me many times before, but he's usually part of a team with Pidang, who is my former trainer at Lana Muay Thai, who still corners for me now. And he wasn't able to make it to this fight, although he was at the fight before that I fought Palmy 11 days ago. And I don't actually depend on my corner. Like, I can show up and not know who my corner is or depend on them in any way other than them just kind of doing the basics that I'm asking of them. But you have to mentally prepare for that. You have to mentally be like distancing yourself from the safety or dependence on your corner, and I didn't do that. I was perturbed by Dang not being able to make it. So I'm just, I guess, emphasizing how I did not mentally come into this fight in the right state to be able to meet all of the challenges that go into fighting someone so much bigger and who's very skilled and very good. If you only occasionally face someone much bigger than yourself, you kind of have to like psych yourself up for that experience, but it's become more and more frequent for me. Most of my fights now are against opponents who outweigh me by quite a lot. And that does mean that I have practice in mentally preparing for these kinds of obstacles. But I don't have it on demand yet, which is something that I'm still working towards for sure. In our previous fight, she had kept me at a distance that was super difficult because I had made the decision beforehand. She's a natural southpaw, and I've been fighting southpaw for about a year, but I had decided going into that fight that I was going to face her right-handed, which is my natural stance. And there are technical reasons why it was a better idea to fight her southpaw, but there's a trade-off, and I decided to go with the non-technical advantages of feeling more free and fluid versus the physical technical advantages of facing a fellow southpaw. And then when I was coming into this fight, I had also decided to face her orthodox again, but I think that I didn't make the proper adjustments between that last fight and this fight for her having advantages as the southpaw against an orthodox fighter. I'm talking a lot about look at our size difference there. I'm talking a lot about the mental aspects of this because in 11 days between fights, you can't really make any physical changes. you can think about them and know the experience you have and how to make those changes, but you can't actually do like a lot of physical training to prepare for something. It's pretty much all mental. I had a fight scheduled between my last fight with her and this one, but my opponent had seen me fight her and then refused to fight me in the fight that was scheduled between these two. That opponent had a 10-kilo advantage on me and still didn't want to fight me, which is a little bit awesome, but sucks because I don't like missing opportunities for fights. And it meant that I just fought Palmy back-to-back instead of having like a, I don't know, palate cleanser in between. Coming into this fight, I was prepared to have this referee who breaks the clinch like gangbusters at tape when I'm in the ring. This is not him, so I was happy that it was not the referee I was anticipating. But that's like the small mental preparation I had made, was thinking that maybe it was going to be that one referee. But speaking of rematching people and knowing how to make adjustments for them, Palmy had a lot of success in our last fight just keeping me at a distance by using this long front arm and really obnoxious teep. And I had done well teeping her leg, and so they just slathered her front leg with like half a bottle of Vaseline, which you can't see. That's why having someone who fought the fight doing the commentary, you get to learn little things like this, is that you make adjustments to someone when you rematch them. That's why rematches are so interesting, is that you can't bank on the same small things that worked before, although she is totally banking on the keeping me at a distance that was working before. And between the last fight and this one, Diesel was at my gym for a month, and he watched my last one, was really proud of me. He's very complimentary of me beating someone so much bigger and who's a champion as well. He really likes that I fight bigger and hates that I fight bigger. He is conflicted about it. But he told me I had to walk faster and get close much faster. Like, don't creep my way in. And I'm not doing that. You can see me trying to cut the distance here and kind of struggling with it. She's throwing these head kicks, which even though they're hitting my guard, they totally count. She's getting big points there, and if I don't block it completely, that's totally a kick to my head. So it's a good tactic on her part to just kind of keep me at this kicking range and then launch head kicks at me all the time. I had known that this front bouncing leg that she's doing had really bothered me in the first fight, and did not do anything in my training between these two fights really to adjust for that or kind of solve for it, which means that my mental state between the two was not even fully there. It wasn't even just arriving at the stadium and having that mental state not be there. It was even in the preparation for it. I can't remember how long I knew I was going to be fighting her before coming up. I think it was only a few days. I think I only asked Cobb, who's the promoter at this stadium, a short while before I came up, so I didn't have all those 11 days knowing that I was fighting Palmy again. But I also came in totally feeling sorry for myself because oh god, I should even say this in the voice that I say it in my head to like get over my self-pity, but if you say things with a whiny voice, it really helps, so you don't take it so seriously. But other fighters totally get to beat someone and then not face them right away and get to like live off of that win for a while. I don't get to do that. I got 11 days to feel good about having beat the 118-pound Northern champion and then had to face her straight again with her wanting vengeance, and completely righteously so. Like, nobody likes to lose. It's embarrassing to lose to someone so much smaller. Like, there's no reason I should feel like I have earned something that I get to keep in a vase having beat anybody ever. Kevin can see that I'm not in the right mental state. He's like trying to cheer me on from the corner. For a long time, for all my first fights in Chiang Mai, he was up on the corner filming like this. And then when we moved to Pattaya, we got our dog Jaidi, and it made it impossible for Kevin to climb up on the ring anymore. And very unfortunately, Jaidi died in February, so Kevin is able to go up on the ring again, and we have a nicer camera, so you get to see, oh, it's a nice face teep there. You get to see much nicer angles and vantage of my fights as I'm as I'm struggling to make these adjustments against fucking giants, man. So her corner is telling her to just kind of keep doing this front teep. Like, she's not a complicated fighter. She's an incredibly simple fighter, but she's really good at those simple things. She loves to use that front teep, that long front arm. See how I'm wiping my foot on the canvas there after teeping her front leg? That's because there's so much Vaseline on it. And then I kind of have to stop teeping that leg. So she's just setting up for these, like, super huge kicks. She's got a super loping, like, right hook as she kind of steps over to the side. And because... Oh, there's that elbow. We fought, I think this is our third time. The first time I was winning in the clinch, and then she cut me with, I think, that same elbow she just threw. And the ref stopped it. So I lost that one. And then beating her 11 days before this, she definitely was coming at me with this, like, let's resolve that. She has a good tactic, especially for the way that I fight. My problem is that I just have to take away this distance, which is like, if I fight at her distance, there's no way I can win from here. I don't have any advantages from this distance. I don't have any weapons from this distance. I have to step in, because once I get in my distance and my bubble, she's got nothing. Like, it totally is like a seesaw in terms of, like, switching who has the power at that distance. She's totally, like, sticking that hand in my face to set up for that elbow. These rounds feel so short.
Sylvie, you have to go left.
So I decided to fight this one orthodox again, for the same reasons, like freedom, fluidity, kind of. I can fight southpaw, and I've actually had a lot of success fighting southpaw. Kevin pointed out I've had a lot of success beating southpaws in southpaw. So again, lots of technical reasons why I should, quote unquote, should fight a fight southpaw, and maybe really should have fought this one southpaw. But one of the difficulties I'm facing, even though I've been fighting left-handed for about a year, is that when I'm southpaw, I really overthink. Like, it's like I'm trying to strategize my movements instead of letting them come out freely. But what's a little bit weird about it is that when I'm orthodox, which is my natural stance, I stay way too far away. Like, I just stay closer in southpaw, which is one of the advantages. But I stay too far away, and then I yell at myself for not being close enough. And it's only when I kind of walk into southpaw or find myself in southpaw after missing something that fluidity comes. So if I choose to be in southpaw, my fluidity isn't there because mentally I'm not there. But if I happen to be in southpaw, I'm super fluid. It's like so complicated. These are the things that you struggle with in the long term. I'm 230 something fights in, and these are things that I'm struggling with. It is not a, like, I've established my style and game and now it's infallible. Palmy is an incredibly simple fighter, but she's really good at that simplicity. Like, she's comfortable in it, she's fluid in it, she can make adjustments in it. All you have to do is kind of push her a little bit out of it, but it's hard to push her out of it. Her balance on that narrow beam is pretty good. In our last fight, I had started to have more success in the later rounds by walking in southpaw. So, like, switching my stance and walking in and grabbing her, and then that ref was letting the clinch go, which was excellent for me. One of the reasons that festival fights are so great. See how quickly he's breaking that? That's on me. Like, you have to know that the ref breaks clinch fast, and you just have to move more. Like, they are shaping the fight. It is something that you're working against, but it's up to you to work against it. It's not a, like, it's unfair kind of thing. She's just using that front teep to keep me right at that shit distance. I just have to close in once and then stay in there. I'm overturned right here, which is one of the reasons Karahat switched me to southpaw in the first place, was so that I would not overturn in the way that I am right now. You can see that I'm making small, gradual adjustments to getting my elbow back to the front of her shoulder so that I can actually work in it. But to remind everyone, she has an 18-pound advantage on me. So even though I'm moving her and clinching pretty well, it's a pretty hefty weight difference to shoulder when trying to move people. That was a good teep. I always forget about my teep. I think especially because I couldn't teep her leg from that Vaseline. I forgot about just teep higher. But look at her just dance around me. Like, she's got this height and timing. So she's just staying away from me, and it makes me look quite, I don't know. Like, she's definitely controlling me. I'm staying right on her, which makes me happy. I don't think I felt that when I was actually in the fight. I think I just felt super frustrated and sorry for myself. But when you stay close to someone like that, it catches up in the later rounds. I don't know who the second guy is in my corner. The woman who was promoting the fight in Non that I was supposed to have between the last fight I had with Palmy and this one is in my corner. And she's filming. I think she had a live stream on her phone or something, but I don't know her really well, and I didn't get to go fight on her promotion because the opponent refused to fight me. So I kind of had this weird discomfort about having her in my corner before Pinoy, who's in the red helping me right now, before he showed up, when I thought it was just going to be her in my corner. But that's not a complaint about like not having the right people in your corner. It goes to show that my mentality before the fight of not being assertive and being like, Sylvie, go find a corner that you're comfortable with, started way before the fight. And Kevin warned me about it. He totally let me know, and I was like, I'll handle it, and then did not handle it. This is what they mean. This is what I mean. When they say it's 90% mental, it's fucking way more than 90% mental. Kevin's yelling at me that I won that round, and I'm looking at him like, I don't know what you're talking about, but I decided to believe him, because I tend to just counter him and spiral into my feeling bad about myself. But if it's round 3 and I won that round, that's really good. That means I just have to climb a little bit rather than like catch up and then climb. Oh, it is difficult though. I don't have easy fights. I don't know that anyone has easy fights. Like, every fight is hard because of the challenges that any given opponent gives you. But man, fighting someone who you're kind of like not amped to be fighting and kind of have to prove yourself again because I won the last one. Like, I had all these things in my head that have nothing to do with what's happening in the ring right now, and you just have to learn and train yourself how to keep that shit out of the ring while you're trying to do things that really have nothing to do with thinking about it. It's letting go and doing it. Like, it doesn't actually matter what stance I'm in. Flow is in the mind. It's not whether I'm standing left or right. Oh, that was a nice kick back. I was happy with my kick, and then she just fucking kicked me right back. I am staying a little bit closer. I think that she's teeping a little bit less. And because I'm already closer and not backing out, it's harder for her to get that teep back going. Coming back a little bit. Kevin is trying to, like, urge me to just let go and go after her. Honestly, the way I fight, I just have to have this, like, fuck it and go in. And sometimes it can take me a really, really long time to get to that point. It can be the 5th round, which you can win a fight just in the 5th round, but oh, it's hard. It'd be like if you ran a marathon really slow and then sprinted the last mile and thought that you were gonna like beat everybody. It's not a good tactic. Can work, but not a great tactic. So she's got a lot of people in her corner cheering for her. They're making a lot of noise anytime we get broken by the ref. This doesn't have like huge influence on the judges, but crowd noise influences the experience of a fight for everybody. It includes me in the ring. I'm actually staying much closer, maybe because her fucking people are being so loud. Oh, that was... You can see how, like, her knee was not that dramatic, but because it, like, pushed my hips back a little bit, it seemed much bigger than it was. I'm doing a bit of long clinch here, which, if you're a patron, you can see the long clinch session I did with Tanadet, Torpan49. He is other people use the long clinch like as a transitional move, but I worked with him on it for an hour because nobody uses the long clinch the way he does. He is a master in it. And I had a great advantage just there at the end of that round with the long clinch that if I had a little bit more time to work into it, could have developed into something, but rounds end. This is almost a replay of our last fight. Kevin is telling me to go southpaw to like be able to close in, which if you watch our last fight together, he tells me to do that at about this time in the fight, and I'm like shaking my head at him like, no, I'm not going to do that. It's weird, man. Like, you get tunnel visioned in fights, which can be a really good thing because you have this singular focus, but you can totally be like zoomed in on the light switch instead of what's actually going on in a room or something. It's kind of amazing. But that's part of the challenge of everything, is that you don't just reach a level that then you like are unbeatable, or you reach a level that then nobody can defeat your perfect footwork or anything like that. Like, anybody can be solved, and you're really your own worst enemy in believing in the things that you can do, or choosing to do the things that you're good at, and all of these different things. And for anyone who is at an early part in their career and worrying about when is it gonna be all settled, the dust never settles, ever. That's not what fighting is. Fighting is a constant challenge, and if it's not, you're not doing it right. So it sucks, but that's a beautiful part of it. Kevin is doing a live stream and filming with the good camera, so if you guys are ever watching the live stream and it's jerky or has a problem, he's dealing with tons of things at the same time, so be patient. Thank you guys for watching live. Thank you for my patrons who make both of these things possible, and thank you to Kevin who does all these crazy things. But when you're watching that and it's not like commercial perfect, it's because there's a lot of stuff going on all the time. So now she's starting to showboat. Maybe round 3 was mine, round 4 not so much, so now she just kind of has to stay ahead and look great. I really need to close faster and do something dramatic, but you can see how I'm shrinking away from her strikes. That's not how you do it. That's not the tactic, Sylvie. If you go, you gotta go. Like, you can't, like, half go. Oh man, our size difference though, you can see that. You can see it. I can feel it. Can't get that fucking leg out of the way. It's driving me crazy. That was a good elbow. Didn't touch, but... So people are like, you're done already, like, you just have to stay away. I made it nice and easy for her the entire fight by staying mostly at that range that she was trying to keep me at. So now she basically has to streamline that entire narrative that's already been going. Like, I didn't do enough to upset the storyline for this to be difficult for her in this round. That doesn't mean that what she's doing is not hard. I don't fight backwards well. Like, there are times I'm winning and it's my time to dance off, and I actually am not amazingly good at it, so I do know that she's using amazing skills to be keeping ahead the way that she is. She's got a good lock on me right there. That's because I'm slightly overturned. See how you can see my tattoo, my elbow is past her shoulder. If my elbow was inside her shoulder, she would not be able to hold me like that. Small stuff that makes huge differences. That's why you have to be really diligent about that when you're training. Yeah. I wasn't psyched to do the voiceover on this fight because I felt so shit about it. It's not as bad, actually, as I had in my head. Fights feel and look very different from every single part of it. Like, if you're in the middle of the ring, on the side of the ring, on the ropes, in the audience, watching on TV, all those things change the way a fight looks and feels. My memory of it was not exactly accurate to what it feels like now watching it, but basically, if I were to, like, be my own coach and advise myself off of that fight, it's like, you have to go in to meet the challenge mentally, because physically you cannot fucking change any of the things that I have disadvantages in. Physically, I cannot change how much smaller I am, how much stronger I am. how much taller she is, any of those things. But mentally, you can change every single thing that you feel about going into challenges like that. Pinoy was really sweet. He just put his hand on my head. So, like, don't worry about it. Like, he knows all of the difficulties I was facing. But the important thing is not letting those be an extra opponent in the ring, I guess.